injured in an accident, you need a lawyer, and you deserve an advocate. Because every accident has a ripple effect. It affects your time, your health, your ability to make money, everything. That's where the advocates can help. Speaking with an attorney is simple and 100% free. We're available 24/7 for your convenience, and we'll take on the claims process so you can rest easy. Because you're not just a client to us, you're a person, and you deserve the best help you can get. You deserve an advocate.
This is the Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find the Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, the Monty Show, live on Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025. The Big 12 football conference is in trouble. And I say football conference. Today could be a day that is the beginning of the end in college football as we know it. I'll explain that. Is the Big 12 football conference healthy? Is the Big 12 as a football conference viable? Are the SEC and the Big 10 taking over college football, and have they done that already? All of that on the table today. As always, presented by the Advocates at theadvocates.com. The best injury attorneys in the business, no matter where you're listening to this show. Get to theadvocates.com. Did you get into a car accident? This terrible winter weather that is gripping the entire country. Did you guys see the weather in Texas yesterday? Get into a car accident? Somebody driving recklessly in the snow and ice in Texas? Please make sure that you are prepared. Don't rely on your insurance company. Let the advocates fight the process. Let the advocates fight for you. Let them handle claims. They're going to give you clear, risk-free advice, and you're never going to reach into your pocket to pay the advocates because you don't pay unless and until the advocates win your case. Chat with an injury attorney live online for free. Won't cost you a dime at theadvocates.com. We have a lot to get to today, but I know that you guys have heard me talk about this before, and I know you're probably tired of hearing me talk about this, and I know you probably just want to come in here and talk about the Pokemon cards that you guys got out of your Happy Meals, and to which I say that is gross and disgusting. But instead, we're going to talk about the AP poll and the absolute ridiculousness that is the AP poll. And somehow, some way, still today in 2025, here we are looking at an AP poll, and here we are looking at a blatant lack of respect and understanding of the Big 12 as a football conference. It is remarkable to me that we sit here and you have BYU at 13, that you have Arizona State behind Georgia and Penn State, that you have Oregon ranked third after that beatdown that they took from Ohio State. Oregon is ranked third behind Texas, which is crazy to me. And then I just look at the plight of the Big 12. How on earth is BYU behind SMU? How on earth are you looking at a situation where Colorado is 25th behind Memphis and UNLV, behind Army, behind Syracuse? I don't know, and maybe I'm making too much out of this. But I looked at this yesterday, and I am absolutely flabbergasted at just how this seems like it's a joke, right? Make this make sense for me. And again, I just ask you, even throw out the Big 12, but you look at this graphic and I say to you, what sense does it make that Oregon is number 3, that Penn State is number 5, that Arizona State is ranked behind Georgia and Penn State? What sense does that make? What sense does it make that BYU is 13th? Make it make sense that they're behind SMU, who got humiliated and beat down, and their loss was to BYU in Dallas, which it says across the front of their jerseys.
Right.
Make it make sense, because I can't figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any logic to it. I think this is, classic soccer writer behavior. I mean, this is classic. You don't understand or watch Big 12 football, and I think the SMU BYU thing is the perfect example of it. I mean, there are many examples, but to have SMU ahead of BYU simply, I guess, because they made the college football playoff, I guess that's the logic. I guess you got bounced out of the college football playoff in embarrassing fashion. And I think everybody agrees that you never should have been there. And, it really bothers me that teams in the Big 12, have a better season than a quote unquote ACC team, but that ACC team who bought their way in, who, really has never been in a P4 conference before, but just ponied up cash to get in, somehow is ranked ahead. I mean, I'm just surprised. I feel like BYU had one of the best seasons in recent memory. And they're not really being rewarded for that. Now, again, as we talked about, you lost when you can't lose, right? What does everyone remember about the BYU football season? You lost at home to Kansas at night. That's what everyone remembers. They don't remember all the great moments. They don't remember, Jake Retzloff having a great year. They don't remember any of the positive stuff with BYU. So make it make sense. Yeah, I write this off to, these are people voting who don't watch Big 12 football, because if you did, there's no way you'd have BYU ahead of SMU. There's just nobody in their right mind would say that SMU is a better football team when you look at the head-to-head matchup, the strength of schedule, and the conference that they play. Like, there's just no way to say that. And furthermore, I look up the AP poll farther, and it gets worse, in my opinion. And this is the part that should scare you as a Big 12 fan. How the hell is Oregon ahead of Texas? How I don't know. How do we have a situation where people are ranking a football team in the last AP poll of the year? How are you putting Oregon ahead of a team that got further than they did? I just don't understand.
And Texas took Ohio State to the limit. Oregon didn't even compete. Did not even compete. And you look at all the Big Ten representation in this AP poll. You look at Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State. Indiana in the top. All of them in the top 10. It is wild to me. At some point, the AP poll has to go away. It has to be eliminated as any kind of weight or carrying any kind of influence. The AP poll's got to go away. Yeah. This is wild to me. That did you not look at strength of schedule? And I understand that this may seem trivial to some. The AP poll has incredible influence on the college football playoff selection committee. And this is, I'm at the max for the BS that goes on in college football. And that's why this story right here, this is so significant now, because you have a situation where the Big Ten and the SEC, their athletic directors are going to meet in February in New Orleans to talk about how to get more Big Ten and SEC teams into the college football playoff and whether or not they need to expand it so that those two conferences get more automatic qualifiers.
Okay, so that's what they're meeting to talk about. We look at the AP poll. How many more teams do you want to get in? How many more teams can the Big Ten and the SEC? Because obviously Notre Dame's an independent, right? But they might as well be. They're an independent, but I kind of throw them into the Big Ten pile, if you will, right? If they weren't independent, they'd be in the Big Ten. We all know that. So to me, when I look at this, I say, okay, you got Ohio State, Notre Dame, Oregon, Penn State, Indiana. I mean,
it's a clean sweep in the top 8 for the SEC and the Big Ten.
And by the way, we also got to say Michigan typically is on this graphic, but they had a bad year. So that's like 7 teams that you've already got in if you're the Big Ten, and we haven't even got to the SEC. Illinois
at 16, Indiana. Was there any bigger fraud in the college football playoff than Indiana?
No, I don't think so. And this is why, when people tell us, like, people tell us, oh, well, you guys are too worried about the Big 12. Like, you guys are blowing this out of proportion.
Don't forget, we're homers for the Big
Like,
12. We're homers for the SEC. In all on my TikTok yesterday, you're just a homer for Ohio State. I know. We're a homer for everybody.
Like, I sit here and I look at this and I say, you can call us a homer if you want to. I'm not a fan of, I'm not a Notre Dame fan, right? Like, I didn't grow up with Notre Dame.
Yeah, me either.
I didn't really grow up with a college football team. But when I look at that graphic, if you're a Big 12 fan, you should be terrified, because the good news is, reading between the lines, it appears that Deion's not going anywhere. It would appear that Deion's staying in Boulder,
which is a huge win.
So
for the Big 12,
that's a huge win for the Big 12. But I'm just sitting here saying, okay, well, I look at the Big 10 and the SEC, and both of these conferences have clear paths to reaching the upper echelons of college football, right? Like making the most money, playing in the biggest games, writing the story of the season at the end of the year, if you will. Both of those conferences have clear access to that every single year. The Big 12 does not have access to that tier of college football.
Nope.
Well, what do you mean, Monty? They're a P4 conference. They've got the auto bid. Like, what do you mean? Well, what I mean is that somehow, some way, Soccer Writer in Nowhereville puts SMU ahead of BYU. The Big 12 does not get the favor that the ACC gets because of its geographic location.
Yeah, and I think that this is a very important moment in time. I think this offseason, where we just got through this college football playoff cycle, when you very clearly, in my opinion, if you're the Big 12 and the ACC got all the breaks. The ACC, you're getting SMU in, Clemson, like you're getting multiple teams in, and you got embarrassed, right? You look at the Big 12, ASU put on a show, and it seems to be meaningless. So it doesn't matter, apparently, what your strength of schedule is during the regular season. It doesn't matter how your conference performed in the biggest moments on the biggest stage. Well, apparently all that matters is, I'm not certain what the AP poll is looking at, and all that matters is what's going on in New Orleans on February 19th when the Big Ten and the SEC get together. That's where we are, and I think this is a real critical moment in the landscape of college football, because if we are, and talking to people around college football, talking to administrators, talking to athletic directors, talking to former players, everybody is convinced that we are going to a super league in some form, where private money will create an environment where conference affiliations go away. But nobody believes that that's going to happen in the next 3 years. And the biggest issue with that is, you're watching the SEC and the Big Ten take over college football. You are watching Greg Sankey be dismayed that he didn't have a team in the final, and he is going to swiftly, and I think with a hammer, fix the process and help his SEC constituents get into the final. And I'm not a big fan of that. I think, frankly, we need a system where you need to win games against competent opponents in the regular season to even qualify for the postseason tournament. And that's not currently the environment that we have in college football, because we put zero weight, frankly, on strength of schedule, and it is wrong. And you're looking at it in this AP poll. And for everybody yesterday on social media and in our comment section telling me that I'm all doom and gloom and this has been a great year of the college football playoff, I don't even disagree that we made advancements in the college football playoff with the 12 teams. It was compelling. You had people pissed off, whether you were Bama or whoever you want to point to. Yes, did the college football playoff at 12 teams work? Yes, it did. Can you continue to sell me the bill of goods that a Thursday college football playoff game was the right thing to do? No, you cannot. Can running and fearing the television audience of the NFL, so playing your biggest games in non-primetime moments, can you sell me that college football is really healthy? And I don't care if you're the Big Ten or the SEC, when you're running scared from the NFL, that tells me that you're not altogether that healthy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that So I think that there's two things at play there, and it's a great point. Like, number one, I think everybody runs from the NFL, right? We see this all the time in sports. Like you see everybody say, "Oh, the NFL is on this day. We better just take a back seat to that." But I think the interesting part about the college football playoff is the timing and is the schedule. And everyone wanted the 12-team playoff, and everyone wanted to expand everything.
Gotta have Boise in.
Gotta have Boise
No,
in,
you don't.
right?
No, you don't.
But what do you always say? What are the unintended consequences of having these phonies, these wannabe cool schools in when they have no business playing in the college football playoff? Oh, that's right. The unintended consequences, you got to play one of your biggest games of the entire season. One of your biggest opportunities to make money is going to fall on a Thursday after the new year when people are checked. Like, that's
wild
the problem.
to me.
Like, think about what people go through. And I always bring this up when it comes to TV audiences. Bro, you're having one of your biggest games of the year. What was it? I think it was like the 4th of January. It might've been that Thursday following the new year. And I'm sitting here saying, like, yeah, I guess I understand you had to avoid the NFL. The problem, though, is that everyone's hungover and everyone's tired from their New Year's travel and celebration, that they haven't been paying attention to what you've been doing.
And it's not even paying attention. It's Thursday night. You're not conditioned to watch college football on Thursday night. And I go back to this thing that I keep telling you about, and everybody who has, again, told me I'm an idiot.
Oh, you're stupid. You're a homer.
What have I told you? The NFL will have the Super Bowl on Sunday, and the college football championship game will be on Saturday night.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, what news did we get last? What was that? Today is Wednesday. What did we get last Friday? I think it was. Oh, hey, yeah. What do you know? The college football leadership committee and the NFL leadership committees are going to talk about ways where they don't inhibit each other's television viewership. Huh. So you mean the biggest game of the year in college football and the biggest game of the year in the NFL, how can we have it so they don't compete? I know, let's have one on Saturday night and let's have one on Sunday night.
And not only not compete, but work together.
To me, it is inevitable. And people in college football, whether it's Kyle Whittingham, Nick Saban has talked about it, the NFL and college football have to be in lockstep. And not only that, they have to work together to create an ecosystem that supports football, which in a lot of ways, and I know this isn't what we talk about, but in a lot of ways, football has some real skeletons in their closet, whether it's brain injuries, whether it is, we're going to talk about this situation at Wisconsin and Miami, and
yeah, I mean there are a lot of hurdles in football.
The House settlement that is not settled and is not close to being settled, apparently. I think we're in a position where you have to professionalize college football. So the BS AP writer who covers MLS soccer in Minnesota and doesn't watch college football and only has an AP vote because his newspaper told him he had to. Yeah, that's the problem with college football. And at some point, we're going to take what happens in the regular season more seriously. So Alabama isn't playing Mercer and being rewarded for it. So that SMU doesn't buy its way essentially into the ACC. And then I think really hurt the ACC with their performance and getting absolutely crushed in the first round. Mm-hmm. To me, the system doesn't work, and we can keep putting more Big Ten teams in. And I think for all of the naysayers who tell me I don't support the Big Ten, I'm telling you the next decade will be, if the Big Ten gets more auto bids, the Big Ten will dominate college football for the next probably 5 to 8 years, in my opinion. Because you look at the very fact that flipping Oregon is third in the AP poll, ahead of Texas. That's wild to me. I'll never understand it. Texas won a playoff game.
Yeah.
Texas won a playoff game.
And
barely, but they won a playoff game and took Ohio State, the eventual champion, to the limit, and they're behind Oregon.
And I'm supposed to look at this graphic And I'm supposed to feel good about the fact that Texas is an SEC team now, and the Big 12 has almost no representation on this graphic.
Yeah, it is shocking to me. Am I making too much out of it? Because I'm just going to continue to tell you, if you're a Big 12 supporter or you're an ACC supporter, it is doom and gloom until a Super League model gets here.
Mm-hmm.
It is as simple as that, because Tony Petitti and Greg Sankey have no reason to relinquish their position. And I think I said it yesterday. The fact that Notre Dame signed away any leverage to decide the future direction of the college football playoff really hurt the ACC and the Big 12.
Yes.
It was a tipping point. And I understand why they did it, because you don't want to join a conference, nor should you, in my opinion. But you want to maintain your spot in the college football playoff. They're guaranteed a spot. For those of you who don't know, Notre Dame is guaranteed a spot if they're in they're ranked one of the 12 best teams in the country.
Yeah.
And when is Notre Dame not?
Yeah. And I think that reliability is really smart given all the things we're talking about, right? Whether it's the House settlement, whether it's the changing of structure, like any of that. I think that's why Notre Dame said, you know what, like, yeah, we're going to give up our voice, but if we can guarantee revenue for our institution, we're going to go ahead and take that opportunity, given how much change is happening.
I'm a Notre Dame fan. It's one of the great scams in all of college football that Notre Dame is guaranteed a spot without conference affiliation. I am thrilled with it. We just played for we got embarrassed. We got outplayed. We got out. By the way, still, where are all the Notre Dame fans who were here telling me that I was wrong and they were going to win the game? Anyway, my point is, we just went to the college football playoff final. I'm thrilled with where we are as a football program, right? Like, Marcus Freeman proved me right.
Again.
And we have a guaranteed spot every year, no matter who the mediocre ass coach of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish is.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind the stories. Did everybody see the stories about Notre Dame's locker room conduct with the media? Anybody see that story? That they were cursing and yelling expletives at reporters, asking, hey, why did you have your weakest corner alone against the best receiver in college football? And they were getting MF'd and FU, and what kind of effing question is that? And
I don't know, the right one.
Really strong culture Marcus Freeman's built at Notre Dame. Oh, we're great when we win, and God and Jesus Christ, and everybody loves the eye black that's smeared all over Riley's face. But then when we lose and we got to answer tough questions, we F-bomb, and you guys are just going to go to church and ask for forgiveness and confession, right? Yeah, it doesn't work like that. Doesn't work like that. So next time I tell you that Marcus Freeman dropped the ball in the national championship game by kicking a field goal that she had no business kicking, by zero blitzing, leaving the best wide receiver in the country one-on-one against your weakest corner on the sideline, and then after you lost that game, you went in the locker room and MF'd and cursed at and yelled and screamed at reporters. I don't feel better now.
No, I mean, I don't think you should.
I don't feel better.
Yeah, I don't think you should.
I don't. I think listen, I'm a passionate Notre Dame fan. I think we're in a great spot. We're going to get our share of the college football playoff. We're going to be in it every year. What more do you want? I'm telling you, in the next, it probably won't be in the next 3 to 5 years. Would it surprise anybody if in the next 10 years, Notre Dame, led by some mediocre ass coach, tripped and fell into a national championship?
No. Nope.
You look at, if Notre Dame had gotten the route that Penn State got, I think we would have been much more competitive, because Notre Dame just looked out of gas at some points in that game. But it's going to happen. It's going to happen. If the college football playoff remains the way that it is, it's going to happen. It will. Because the other thing about this situation, and I think this really matters, this Xavier Lucas thing with Wisconsin. Did you guys hear this? Xavier Lucas is a defensive back. Not a good player. Average player. Goes to Wisconsin. Signs what Wisconsin says are binding agreements with the collective in the university. Gets paid money. Season ends. Xavier Lucas says, hey, I want you guys to put me in the transfer portal. When a player gets in the portal, the school enters his name into the portal. He goes to the athletic director and says, I want to enter my name in the transfer portal. By NCAA bylaw, they have no choice but to put his name in the portal. They cannot lobby him. They certainly cannot say no, unless you're Wisconsin and then you said no. So what did Xavier Lucas do? Well, he withdrew from school and went and enrolled at Miami, and now he's going to play football at Miami next year.
Pack everything up. We're out of here.
And now Wisconsin is suing all parties involved here, including Xavier Lucas, who's represented by Darren Heitner, one of the elite sports attorneys on the planet. And Wisconsin's argument is these are binding contracts. Here's the problem. Did you guys sign that house settlement? It's not done. It's not done. So there's nothing that says Xavier Lucas can't leave Wisconsin. And there's nothing that says you're allowed to decline him entering his name in the portal. So when you talk about unintended consequences, front and center, Xavier Lucas versus Wisconsin. And so when I say you think, hey, everything's great with college football, everything's not great with college football. And this NIL house settlement that is still not a settlement and is still not done. And Title IX now has been thrown into this, and good luck. Because if we ever needed it, and if there was ever an indication that we do need it, this lack of ability to close this settlement tells you a super league is coming.
Yeah, I just
private
think the
money is
system
coming.
Is too complicated to get a real quality settlement done. I mean, you can settle on one portion or another of the conversation, but there's always another piece. That's the problem. So
I agree.
Oh, well, here are the transfer portal rules. Okay, well, what about Title IX? Okay, well, we're not able to close the whole settlement because of Title IX or because of this or because of that. Now Xavier Lucas has popped up, and now we have a suit. Now we get bro, it's not the system itself. The very fabric of the system is flawed, and there has to be a more clear, clean-cut process. And I would agree that, like you said, professionalizing college football has to happen for everything, because until you do that, you again, think about all the things that the NFL can do and has a process for that you don't, but is still happening, right?
Yeah.
This is why we have trade deadlines, and this is why we have free agent periods, and this is why we have, it's your point, binding contracts, right? Like Dak Prescott can't just decide he wants to go and play for the Commanders now, right? Or he can't decide to just go and play for whatever team. He signed a binding contract. You're going to get paid this amount of money to be on our roster for this many years, and you've got a couple of opt-outs in this year and that year, right? It's very simple, straightforward A plus B equals C contract law in the NFL. But at the college level, we don't get that because we're so hung up on this idea of, oh, well, these are kids and they're student athletes, and they're not responsible, or they're not somehow old enough to make decisions. I got news for you, bro. These are not kids. They're older than 18. They are adults, young adults, but still adults.
They're grown men at this point.
Let's not sit here and be like, oh, well, these kids are 15 and they don't know better. No, they definitely know better. They're definitely capable of making decisions. And we have to get to a place in college football, and I hate saying this, but I think it's very true. We got to get to a place where it's like, hey, if a kid makes a bad decision with contract law and they sign a binding agreement and they're stuck at Wisconsin for 3 seasons, that's on them. That's not on anybody else. But the problem is we're not at that place yet. So Xavier Lucas can go to Miami, and these things can take place.
Yeah.
And that's why I say, reform has to happen. But inside of this bigger picture conversation, things like the Big 12 being disrespected, or things like the SEC and the Big 10 getting all the credit in the world, that it's a very clear separation of classes here. And at some point, the SEC and the Big 10 are going to, only be able to solve their problems by including everybody.
But isn't this why you need a commissioner?
Yeah.
That rules over college
You need your
football.
Roger Goodell.
And I think we've got to get rid of this selection committee, wins on the field. This is how you get in. This is how you get out. You didn't win enough games, you're out. You
Yeah.
won enough games, you're in. It's that simple. And you only play each other. And you play, in my opinion, you're going to wind up playing, I think the right number of games is probably 14 to 15 games. And then you have, I would think a maximum of 3 or 4 playoff games. And those are spread out because I think the season needs to continue to end in November. I think it needs to start a little earlier in August. You play through November, and then I think you look at the bowls. Those bowls continue to be the college football playoff. And I think the nobody gives a rat's ass D's nuts bowl is for those teams that don't qualify for the playoffs. You don't have to like it, but I think that's what you do, because the idea that winning 6 games is some triumphant season is
dumb,
wild, because you're just not. And I go back to Alabama and I look at snap counts. Like one of the stats that I have available to me is how many reps these kids played during the year and how many reps they played in their bowl game. And again, you look at Alabama's defense, overwhelmingly, the kids that played the most reps in that bowl game were kids who didn't play a lot of reps during the season. Because Alabama has nothing to gain by leveraging that bowl game for a win, or Colorado against BYU, or it's just littered everywhere. Where you look at the meaningless bowl game is truly meaningless to most of the people participating.
Yeah.
Well, we won 6 games. We have to go to a bowl. I think those days need to end, but we'll see. We'll see. All right. Let's get your thoughts in here on the state of college football. Let's get your thoughts. Did you guys buy it in the comment section? Is the AP poll worth all this? It has incredible leverage. It has incredible meaning. If you look at everybody who tells me, well, the AP poll doesn't matter, look at how close the AP poll and the College Football Playoff Selection Committee rankings are.
100%.
I mean, they are right next to each
it's
other.
typically only 1 or 2 changes.
Yes.
It's very, they're very similar.
Exactly right. The comment section is always brought to you by Prize Picks. You know what? How do I do it? And if somebody wants to, I don't understand my own amazing awesomeness and greatness. Yeah, I don't understand it. Right? Like I look at myself nude in the mirror multiple times a day, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how I do it. Yeah, the mirror is on the floor. That's a good point. I don't know how I do it. I wanna understand my greatness, but I think it's just, it's like the universe. You don't understand the Milky Way.
I've been a rich man and I have been a poor man, and I choose rich every fucking time.
Every time. And you call it the Milky Way and you think it's a candy bar. I call it the Milky Way and I think I missed the spot. Anyway, the point is, I don't understand my awesomeness. Maybe you can help me. Because when you have 2 centers coming back last night and you say to yourself, I'm going to hop on that Prize Pick and win me a bunch of bread. And you say, okay, what did I tell you on the show yesterday? Anthony Davis, Nikola Jokic. Like if you look at Nicolini Jokic with the I know it's Nikola Jokic. Nicolini Jokic with the Nuggets. 49-point number last night. I'm taking more, right? I'm taking more. 27 points, 10 dimes, 13 rebounds. It's 50 on a 49-point number.
That's every day.
Yes. My friends, we call that sacks, right? And then you go to the Los Angeles Lakers.
After the street closed Davis.
Did you take LeBron James? No. Did you take Anthony Davis on a 47.5-point number? Yes.
I wake up in the morning, I piss excellent.
Yes. Anthony Davis last night, 29 points, 5 assists. Do the math, friends. 34 and 16 rebounds. It's a 50-point number. Pay me, motherfucker. Pay me. And then again, I just tell you every single day on this show, flex play it because you know the same that I know. No, I didn't. My phone thinks I fell down. You know the same that I know, that Jaden Daniels, who's not better than Caleb. No, I'm not going to say it. Caleb Williams on 1 yard completion. I'm getting paid, man. It's that easy. Flex play. First thing you need to do, download the PrizePicks app, open a new account, use the promo code Monty. Second thing you need to do, subscribe to the Monty Show, hit the like button on YouTube, right? Hit the like button. Third, just do exactly as I tell you to do because pimp's going pimp. You deposit $5 in a new PrizePicks account, they're going to give you 50 more instantly. You use Flex Play, which means you only got to get 2 out of 3 right because we only play 3 packs, right? 3 packs.
Yeah.
So you're going to get 2 or 3 right.
Dilly.
You take Nicolini Jokic and Anthony Davis and then Jaden Daniels on a free NFL play. That's 3 for 3 you're getting paid. Yeah. And donuts, Monty's ship has come in.
Yeah.
Mirror and Milky Way. Make the image go away from my mind.
Honestly, I'd start stroking guys.
Exactly right. Dev MC, morning, guys.
That's
oh, no.
not it.
Good morning to you. Mike Smith, Mountain Mama. AP makes for great content and conversation. It really does, I guess. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. It's fine. And Donut's a carnival mirror. Yeah, one that distorts the actual reality. It's fine. It is what it is. The Hawaiian Galfer. The AP poll is worth it. Just see you see the buddy. To see me seethe. Okay. Yeah, cool. That's good. Jimmy Otson, what was Bama's excuse against Oklahoma? No excuse. No excuse. None whatsoever.
What's the excuse for SMU being in over Bama?
Well, there is that. Norge Coog, who yesterday tried to make an argument, apparently somebody DM'd me one of his comments about BYU in the 70s. You do you. Don't see the reason for increasing the regular season to 14, 15 games. It's called money, my guy. It's called money. And when you go to a Super League, whatever you want to call it, when you go to a Super League model, the beginning of the season, think about it as non-conference games in the NFL. You're going to make made-for-TV, big-time football games. You're like, one of the things that a lot of college football people I talk to suggest is, okay, well, Notre Dame and Ohio State just played for the national championship.
Yeah.
That's your kickoff game next year. Or the best game.
Well, we're starting to get that more. I mean, Texas, Ohio State's a great way to kick off
Right?
the year.
Texas and Oregon, Oregon and Ohio State, Michigan and Ohio State. There's a lot of people who want to see rivalry week be exclusively the last games of the year. Your season ends, and if you're not good enough, Ohio State to beat Michigan, if you lose to Michigan, it should damage you. If you lose to Ohio State, right?
Totally agree.
So the college football playoff does not incentivize that currently. That model incentivizes Mercer. It incentivizes playing lesser opponents in November. Whereas if you go to a Super League, you have to play only members of that Super League. And you play 14 games probably. The opening week is all marquee made-for-TV matchups.
Are we talking about the NFL or college football?
Exactly.
Because
and if you look at what's the win? Think about what is in this country. What is football like in August? Well, it sucks. It's week 0 sucks.
Yeah.
NFL preseason sucks. Starters don't play. Well, what if we kicked off college football the second week of August? And the first game of the year is a rematch of Ohio State and Notre Dame.
Yeah, let's get rid of week 0. Let's just have week 1 huge games.
What if we got a rematch of Texas and Ohio State? What if we got a rematch of Notre Dame and Penn State? Like, you take marquee matchups, and that's your first week of the season.
BYU and Colorado.
Colorado and whoever. you're going to put huge TV numbers up. You're going to put huge ticket sales up. You're going to have full stadiums with big TV audiences, and State Farm is going to be the Capital One Bull Week sponsor.
Yeah.
Right? Think about Capital One Bull Week. That's why you play 14 games and you start the season in August. And you because a lot of people also think that you need to build in 2 buys. Every university has 2 bye weeks. Like, there's ways to do this so everybody makes money. The kid still has a chance to be a really good student and get a degree, because again, I am all in on, I think the world is coming back to this idea. Yep, you got to have a degree now to succeed. At least, and when I say succeed, to get paid and get a good job. So you got to make it so that guys like Deion Sanders, who for the first time ever, did you guys see that? For the first time ever, the football team at Colorado had a grade point average of 3.0. Never happened before at Colorado, one of the great institutions of higher learning in this country.
Yeah.
Deion Sanders had his football team's GPA at 3.0. That's got to be the standard now. So a super league does that. That's why, Norge, that's why you go to 14, 15 games. That's why you start the season in August. We all want it.
Yeah.
Nobody is going to. If I said to you, man, boy, if we could have BYU, what's a great BYU rivalry? If we could have BYU in Texas, think about Taysom jumping over Texas, right?
Taters.
Hey, if we could have BYU in Texas at AT&T Stadium, August 15th, who's saying no to that?
Well, but Monty, there's baseball on. Yeah.
Who's saying no? Who's saying no to Oregon, Alabama?
Oregon and
like any big matchup.
Yeah.
Georgia and Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very
Michigan
viable idea to have the college football season. I hate the whole week 0, week 1 thing. That's
it's terrible.
Just dumb.
It's
in
terrible.
my opinion. It's brutal. But I think it's a great idea to have week 1 in college football begin, the second week of the NFL preseason. That's brilliant because people are getting back into NFL mode, and now you're just fueling that fire. And I think your point about like these two, like college football and the NFL, in my opinion, don't necessarily compete per se.
No.
The NFL gets what it wants, and the college football world plays around that. But there is that opportunity for these two to play together better and support each other better.
Big 12 Pro Day.
Yeah.
Is a perfect example of that. It is.
Yeah.
That the system's in place. The system's in place. Jimmy Otson, which teams had at least 3 wins against playoff teams? Ohio State, Notre Dame, Oregon, Georgia. The question shouldn't be why is Oregon ahead of Texas? Why is Texas ahead of Georgia? I don't disagree with that. Mike Smith, locker rooms normally have salty language. Yeah, but it was different. The reports are, and it's all over the internet. You can go and see it. The reports are that Notre Dame players were walking up to reporters and yelling at them. First of all, it's Notre Dame. And you can't sometimes be a faith-based Catholic institution.
Yeah.
And other times not.
You don't get to be in God's favor when it's convenient.
Oh, but Monty, you got to love the sinner and hate the sin. Actually, I don't.
So you better check yourself.
You have to build culture where players don't melt down on media members for asking really relevant questions. That's what you can't have. Especially at Notre Dame, where you so publicly tell us that God and country and
God bless.
Oh my God, and we're here because of Jesus Christ made it possible. And we hear about how Notre Dame and their Catholic faith is what kept. Then you wouldn't be MFing reporters in the locker room after the game.
In God's name, image, and likeness.
Sorry, man, you can't have it both ways.
Yep.
And listen, as a recovering Catholic, as a kid who grew up as an altar boy, it is an axe that I grind. Absolutely. San Diego State Glen. Monty. Hey, Monty. Don't forget all the money that the Irish don't have to share with any conference.
No.
Why? And this goes back to, why would Notre Dame ever join a conference?
Yeah, I think it was, what was it, 14 million they got for the semifinal
20.
win? Was it 20?
20 million just for the playoffs. D-Rock is exactly right.
I mean,
Just woke up, tuned in the worst of Notre Dame. Now I'm on the wambulance suffering from Fresno State.
Yeah.
Oh, Fresno State. Wasikowskinator, how's Florida treating you? College could benefit from having a commissioner once the Super League takes shape. Totally agree. And I know you don't want to hear it. It's Tony Petitti or it's Greg Sankey, and it's probably Greg Sankey. Mike Smith, Notre Dame is all about greed, and greed is the root of all evil. Totally agree. Notre Dame is greedy, as they should be.
Yeah.
But why would you share if you don't have to share?
But again, here's my point, though, Mike, to that comment. Everybody's greedy, bro. Like, can you name me a college institution that's not trying to make the most money possible?
Yep. D-Rock Irish. Yeah, I saw Sam Pendleton in the portal. And he does have a non-contact tag, which means he knows where he's going already. And if you know offensive lines, and I'm not going to tell you, if you know offensive lines, you know where he's probably going. You know, and what did he start? Half the season, at least, for Notre Dame. UW fan Jim, good morning. Notre Dame has a bad culture and coach. Sucks to be them. It is truly, and you may be saying that in jest, Marcus Freeman is a very young head coach.
Mm-hmm.
And he's very soft and he's very nice. And by every description, he's a player's coach. And this is what happens. This is what you have to, in my opinion, if Notre Dame ever is going to go to the next level, they have to live and die on discipline. You have to. And it's something that we have lacked for
years.
And Brian Kelly didn't have it, certainly. Marcus hasn't had it. A lot of me believes I wish that they had hired Tommy Rees, because I think Tommy Rees always talked about discipline, coached for Nick Saban, understood, but we'll see. I have high hopes for Marcus that we saw a really big evolution out of Marcus during the playoff.
Yeah,
I hope that continues.
It's low cash to behave that way, and I think that, you know, part of the thing that's disappointing is hey, whether you win or lose on the field, like that's, you know, that just is what it is, right? I mean, it's easy to love the media when you win, but when you lose, to have those reports, and again, the reason that it's believable is because everyone's reporting it. It's not just like one person, and I think what's hard is it isn't, gaslighting questions. Asking the question of, hey, why was your worst cornerback?
What was the coverage and what happened on that route? That was the question that was asked.
That's a relevant question.
Yeah, I agree. Look who's back. Salty Virginia Peanuts.
Wow, where were you yesterday, bro?
In the absence of the college football playoff ranking, the AP poll is fairly close to the college football playoff ranking in season, and certainly better than the coaches poll. Well, yeah, we'll see. Old Tatanka, AP's a joke, just not sure what alternative is, or how do you make them better? You don't.
Yeah.
But you need to get rid of the polls. You need to get rid of the rankings. We cannot have humans with opinions and subjectivity and emotions determining who's in and who's out.
It's got to be decided on the football field.
It's as simple as that. JC, yes, the AP poll mattered like 30 years ago prior to the interwebs and now social media, and yet still it mirrors the college football playoff.
And I would even say, to your point, I think it's worse now because of the internet and social media. You guys got to understand that these are human beings, bro. Like these are normal people who are involved in, obviously, the college process. They're typically an administrator or an athletic director or something like that. And they're sitting around a table eating pizza, drinking their drink of choice, talking about college football. And
which is wild.
Agreed. But if you think that these people don't look at Twitter and don't look at, Ross Dellinger's articles or whoever you like to follow, you're out of your mind. They read the same stuff you do. They just somehow have to come up with their best 12 teams. And that's why I say, no better example of this than Ward Manuel sitting on that committee and chairing that committee. It's incredible. With everything Michigan's gone through, this is the guy that's leading that committee. That's wild to me that's the process we have.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where you go to fix this other than a Super League.
Yeah.
Because whether it's Ward Manuel or Condi Rice or whoever you want to point to,
Condi Rice,
you've got to have football matter. And you guys, I apologize. I know you're tired of hearing me say it. Strength of schedule has to mean something.
Because it doesn't right now.
It means absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
All that matters is someone's opinion of you. That's it.
Tennessee had no business being in the playoff. Should have been BYU. I completely disagree. I think,
but again, this is the strength of schedule conversation, right? And again, this is exact. We had this exact conversation.
Yes, we did.
We played all the scenarios out. Why did BYU, not get into the college football playoff? There's only one reason. They didn't get in because they lost to Kansas at home at night on national TV. Unacceptable.
And Arizona State.
Unacceptable. And then, Arizona State to make it worse. Like,
the only 10 I see had 3 losses this year: Georgia, Ohio State, and Arkansas. Ohio State in the playoff. Their wins, friends, a ranked North Carolina State team on the road at a ranked Oklahoma team, Alabama. To me, they absolutely belonged in. They're a 10-3 team out of the SEC.
Elite defense. One
of the best defenses in the country. They're getting in. They're not Alabama. They're not LSU. I just don't know how you look at Tennessee and say that they didn't belong in. That
because you're a BYU fan. That
doesn't make a lot of sense. BYU's a great story, but if we look at BYU, the argument isn't Tennessee didn't belong in. The argument is SMU didn't belong in.
Yeah.
Right? You're trying to knock out Tennessee when you look at the fact that BYU lost two of its last 3 games. And the Kansas loss, listen, we sat here and we predicted Kansas was going to be a real problem,
dude. Yeah.
And Kansas absolutely wrecked Colorado and BYU's season.
And what did everybody say? Oh, you guys are negative. You guys, they're going to beat up on Kansas. You don't know what you're talking about.
Every time we predict your team to lose, we're idiots and we don't know what we're talking about. Yet BYU and Colorado and Notre Dame.
And then when Notre Dame gets absolutely boat raced in the national championship game, Notre Dame guy who's like, oh, well, Riley Leonard's amazing and you guys suck and you don't know what you're talking about. You don't want to show up yesterday. And that's what we do in college football. That's what we do.
Mike Smith, some teams already schedule versus good teams. They do, and they should be rewarded. Joe says ASU Texas rematch week 0 would be awesome.
Incredible.
Yeah. Boyd Lake, FBS is growing in value. The expanded college football playoff this year was much more engaging. Too much sleep. I got 8 hours and 10 minutes of sleep last night. Despite all the whining, I think it was engaging. I would agree. BYU versus Utah should be the last game of the year every year.
Yep.
In my opinion. What really is week 0? Agreed, Jake. Totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, I just think like later on today, we're going to talk about some NBA trades and some other happenings in sports. And one of the things that really stands out to me about sports right now is I don't think the casual fan understands half of what's going on in sports. I don't think the casual fan understands what week 0 is. I don't think the casual fan understands what this Suns Jazz pick trade nonsense is that we got yesterday. I don't think, a casual football fan understands the dynamic between the AP poll and the coaches poll and the college football playoff committee poll and why those 3 together, come to decide who, gets into the college football playoff and how the AP poll, impacts the college football playoff poll. And it's one of the things that really bothers me about these conversations is that, you guys have your opinion, we have our opinion, but the difference is that our opinion's built on, all these analytics and statistics and, film review and like all these different things. And so we have this level of understanding, but the masses don't have time for that.
Do they care to have time for it.
Nor do they care to have time for it.
We're the ones who don't have lives, and this is what we do for a living, right? So it is our job
to
be right most of the time And I think when you look at the AP poll, the AP poll's a joke, dude.
And then we have people questioning the Super League, and I'm like, hey, well, what is the core reason we need the Super League? Well, we need the Super League not for the settlement, not for all this other stuff on the fringe. We need the Super League so that your average fan knows that when, Ohio State and Texas are playing, it's for this specific
You know why
thing.
we need the Super League? So that Purdue versus Ohio State matters.
Yeah.
We need the Super League so that Kansas beating Colorado and BYU actually mattered in the grand
yeah.
That, and Kansas is the best example. Kansas kept BYU and likely Colorado from any opportunity of going to the college football playoff. Yet Purdue was somehow a feather in everybody's cap. There has to be across the board. It has to be a level playing field so that teams like Vanderbilt beating, top tier SEC teams actually impacts people in a matter of, if we lose to Vanderbilt, we're out. If we beat Vanderbilt, we're in.
Yeah.
And it needs to matter that, anyway, I could go on and on. But I look at this, and again, I just ask, when the Big Ten and the SEC get together and they make decisions about your Big 12 and ACC schools in February, don't say we didn't warn you.
Yeah. What's going to happen when the Big Ten and the SEC announce that they're joining forces and creating their own league?
It's going to be ugly. That's what I'm saying. I think it is. It's going to be ugly, in my opinion. D-Rock Irish is saying nice things about you. So you're probably doing.
I appreciate you, bro.
Jake is nailing it today with his comments. So it's fine. Jimmy Otson. I don't trust robot rankings. Alabama at number 4 on the ESPN FPI, case closed. Well, but again, those are formulaic.
That might be the best example. FPI is not the same ranking as the AP.
And it's not robo rankings.
Yeah.
There's actual statistics and analytics built into the ESPN FPI. And it rewards strength of schedule heavily.
Yeah.
And this is the argument we talk about all the time. The SEC playing the SEC is what every conference should do. Because in the Big 12, and again, you're tired of hearing me say this, I'm certain, the state of Texas and Oklahoma State are the biggest disappointments in this league, and it's crippling the Big 12's ability to play for a national championship. Baylor, TCU, Texas Tech, crippling. Houston, crippling. Oak State, Utah this year, crippling the Big 12's ability to play for a national championship. It's embarrassing. If you're a Big 12 diehard, it should be embarrassing that Colorado was on the precipice of going to the college football playoff, had Kansas not beaten them. Let that sink in. That the Dillinghams were able to do what they were able to do in this league should be embarrassing to you.
Agreed.
With all due respect to Kenny Dillingham, because that team balled their ass off.
Yeah.
Can you really have a year 3 BYU team competing for a spot in the college football playoff? And everybody's going to say, well, Monty, they earned it. They did. How is BYU running the table until the end of the year when they lost 2 or 3? How are they running the table in this league? And yet Baylor can't compete, and Texas Tech can't stop anybody, and TCU, who the hell knows what they're doing defensively, and Oak State can't even win a game in the league, and Utah doesn't have a quarterback last year. How is that possible?
Yeah.
Because there's no blue bloods. There's no brand.
And there's no expectation.
There's no penalty for being shit in this league.
Yeah.
That's the biggest issue. That is the single biggest issue, in my opinion. There's no incentive to or not to. It's just boys, we fought hard. Okay, cool. Let's extend Dave Aranda.
8 wins. Well, Monty.
Whoa. Come on now. Jake, Salty Peanuts. I checked your show banner and it said that your show started at 3 p.m. I thought you had moved back to your old time slot.
Okay, first of all, yes, we need to get the banner updated. We will at some point. But second of all, the reason that doesn't work for you, my guy, you're here every day.
Stop. So let me get this right. You think that you weren't here yesterday because you were confused on when the show starts.
Stop.
Please.
Just be accountable, dude. And this
Nobody
is what I
believes
say,
that.
Bro, this is what I say every time we do this. Notice when we're wrong about something, we still show up every day and do the show. When you're wrong about, like, proverbial you, not you specifically, Salty, but in this case, yes, you don't show up the next time we're doing a show. And you know damn well when the show is going on.
I thought you started at no, you didn't.
No, you didn't, dude. Just simply come in here, be accountable, and say, yeah, dude, I was upset that I was wrong about how that game went, and I didn't want to hear about it. Okay, I can respect that. That's fine. That's totally fine.
It's fine. It's fine. Let's see. Dev MC. Arkansas lost to Oak State. Arkansas is not a good loss. So one bad loss should end your season. Well, then how did Ohio State win a national championship? Because that loss at Autzen was terrible. That loss to Michigan, terrible.
How was Notre Dame in the national championship game?
They lost to NIU. Terrible.
Come on.
One loss, end the season. Doesn't work that way. It's never worked that way. And I'm going to continue to tell you the biggest brands are always going to get extra rope. And people like BYU do not. Because nobody's voting for BYU if they don't have to. You have to. BYU is a great example because when BYU was independent, well, they got to be perfect, Marty. Well, what do they got to be now? What do they got to be now? They better win the Big 12 championship because if you're relying on human beings to vote BYU into the college football playoff, good luck. Good luck. That's not going to happen. When you lose matters in college football, I would agree
100%.
with that. I would agree with that.
Which, again, though, is a huge problem with the system because losing right now changes the narrative and how you're viewed, which then limits your opportunity.
Elvin, Kansas is worse than Arkansas. Did you watch Kansas at the end of the year?
No, because Kansas was allegedly a bad football team.
Are you kidding me? So let me get this right. Kansas is a bad football team. Okay, well then how do you explain that Kansas, and I just want to make sure I get this right, Kansas, who lost their 5 out of their first 6 games, beat Iowa State, BYU, and Colorado, all ranked teams at the end of the year, 3 weeks in a row. Oh, that's a bad football team, Marty. And I'll continue to say what I said about Kansas all year. Shocking how bad they were.
Yeah.
Until they weren't bad. And it wasn't all at Gayha Field that they won those games. Because I would point out, they came to Provo, 8:30 Mountain Time kickoff in freezing cold temperatures, and they beat BYU's ass.
Yeah.
So I'm not really certain what we're talking about when you say that, Kansas is worse than Arkansas. Kansas is not worse than. There's no worse than, better than. When you win games, I agree with the previous comment. When you win games matters just as much as anything else. Big 12 is filled with mid teams. That's all they'll ever will be. I don't think that's all they'll ever will be. But at some point, there has to be a mandate that, hey, Dave, we're not going to be able to keep you on because you won games against the worst team in our league. And yeah, you're not a good football program. And from the conference level, there has to be pressure applied to Baylor to make a head coaching change. Yes. Because we need Waco and we need the state of Texas to actually win games.
Isn't good enough.
And maybe, I know, hey, Joey, it's Brett Yormark. Tell me about that zero blitz in Wyoming. And then a year later, why you couldn't tackle me. Can you help me understand that? Because we need Texas. Can you imagine if Texas Tech was a one-loss football team? Can you, that fan base that so passionately and unbelievably supports that football team, if they were a one-loss team going to the college football playoff, there are not enough tortillas on the planet. There just aren't.
Agreed.
Can you imagine this league if Oak State was an undefeated team with an actual offensive line, defending an actual quarterback, and actually making it possible for Oliver Gordon to be the best running back in the country, which he has the talent to be? Can you imagine? I can't imagine that either. Not as long as Mike Gundy is there, and he's hiring geriatrics to be his coordinators.
And that is pervasive through the Big 12.
It is. There's not a lot of people
and
who
it's
care.
So frustrating as guys who cover the Big 12 week in and week out to have to, like, bro, when we're in the middle of the season, like we pick games and everything, as you guys know, bro, we're in the middle of the season picking games. And a lot of these games are like, 9-point number, 7-point number, like big numbers against Big 12 opposition, like BYU versus this team, and BYU's favored by 9. Like, what?
Yeah.
That's a problem, man. Like, you have to get better.
You do have to get better. Matt Ritson for $5. Did you see the woman drive the golf cart and hit the wall with Ryan Day and Will Howard?
Yep.
I know we all like to make jokes about women drivers. I get it. I did. I thought that was fairly interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been better if she'd have done that with Notre Dame players, because then it could have just been the capper. Jacob Steinecker, the NCAA, NOA, and bitch again. Will be resolved in the next few days to weeks. It's coming.
Yeah.
Michigan fans, it's gonna. I'm telling you, you're gonna have a bit of a rough summer. You'll get through it.
Yeah,
you will get through it. And I think that there is no question that Ward Manuel is a problem for Michigan. And you look at the men's basketball and the men's football programs right now, I think Sharon Moore did as well as you could expect him to do. Oh, look, smash the numbers here right on time. Salty says, dude, take someone's word for it. No, because you cowardly missed the show yesterday. And I thought it started at. No, you didn't. Why would I be here today? Because it's a day later and you're in check. The thing that you and all the other Notre Dame fans who notice are not here, it's okay to be wrong. But at some point, you got to step up and say, hey, you guys were right, which nobody ever does, and I'm fine with that. Notre Dame was exactly what we told you they were. Where did Greathouse's touchdown come from?
It's a lot fade, just like we told you.
Where did Ohio State go? And this is probably the Jeremiah Smith catch at the end of the game that ended the game is exactly what's wrong with Notre Dame right now on the field, X's and O's wise. You knew who that corner was, and you knew he could not cover man against the sideline. It's been the Achilles heel of Notre Dame's defense all season long. But why had they been getting over on that route? Why had that been okay? Well, one, strength of schedule was putrid, terrible.
Right.
We didn't play anybody. And as soon as we ran into an offense that could manipulate corners, and you look at the Jeremiah Smith play, right? You look at that Jeremiah Smith play, which was the exact same play as ESPN pointed out last night that Chip Kelly got beaten in the Alabama game in the playoffs several years ago. He used the exact same play. You had a Notre Dame corner pointing out the play call before they snapped the ball. Did Notre Dame do anything about that? No. Anyway, back to the play with Jeremiah Smith. The vaunted Notre Dame defense, which I told you was built on the back of bad offenses. Not only did Travion Henderson pick up that blitz, they knew where the blitz was coming. They knew who the blitzer was going to be. He was in the exact right place. And Will Howard put a dime piece on Jeremiah Smith on the boundary against our weakest corner. They had been sitting on that route all game long. And as soon as Schuler, and to his credit, Will Howard manipulated Schuler, made him take a step forward, which is all you needed, because that was a zero blitz in soft coverage, which what it should have been, if you're going to zero blitz, you had better check Jeremiah Smith in tight man coverage. You had better shove him at did they do that? They gave him a free release.
It's just bad X's and O's football.
After you kicked a field goal down 16 and missed the field goal, so you were still down 16. Should have gone for it. I could go on. We talked about it yesterday. I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it. Steinecker. Breaking news. Notre Dame legend Rudy has entered the transfer portal to Ohio State. Oh, it's so funny to make jokes about Rudy. You guys understand that Rudy is fictional, right? You understand that Rudy Rudiger is a real player at Notre Dame. And that movie is complete fiction. Nobody turned their jersey in. He was an asshole that people at Notre Dame didn't like, allegedly. Nobody was fighting for him to get in. No, it was a Disney movie.
But Monty, come on.
It wasn't even that good of a movie. And nobody went to coach and was like, here's my jersey for Rudy. Nobody did that. That never happened. That never happened. Period. Golden goggles were cracked, and it showed with the D on Monday night. And the last thing I'm going to say about this, about Notre Dame in the national championship game, and I'm going to read you the comment a Notre Dame fan left on my TikTok because I think it is very apropos. Matthew Moynihan. Notre Dame lost to a team with way more talent, a team with less injuries, and a team that started mostly seniors. You're a sad human being. Notre Dame had a great season. So let me get this right. Because this comment, while not exact, is what most Notre Dame fans are living on. Go read our comment section. Notre Dame lost to a team with way more talent. Yeah. Notre Dame was not talented enough to beat Ohio State.
Yeah, you lost the recruiting battle. We get that.
100%. A team with less injuries. Well, I wouldn't exactly say that. Ohio State, I think, had 3 major contributors on the offensive line out. That alone against the vaunted Notre Dame defense. How did that work out? With less injuries and started mostly seniors. So let me get this right. You're upset that Notre Dame didn't recruit as well as Ohio State, didn't retain their talent as well as Ohio State, and didn't keep their talent healthy. What are we even talking about? This is what's wrong with Notre Dame. It is, in my opinion, something that you just can't. You just can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're red-assing Rudy jokes now. Tough crowd. I am. I'll be honest with you. I'm burned out on Marcus is great and the season was great. And man, of course they're upset after the game. Why can't we sit here as Notre Dame fans and just be honest and say Riley Leonard wasn't good? I told you all season long.
Because that doesn't
Riley
feel good.
Leonard is not good. But the reason it doesn't feel good is because you keep doing it. So the bar is very low at Notre Dame. We got exposed by Northern Illinois because we didn't play anybody after that. Did we go through the playoff? Yes. Did we win playoff games? Yes. Was it amazing to beat Indiana? I think Indiana was a bad team. I don't think that was a good football team. Google me, right? Did we win against Georgia and Penn State? Yes, those are good football teams. Those are good wins. There's no doubt. But in the moment in time where your defense ran into one of the best offenses, and I think inarguably the best offense you saw all year, inarguably at Ohio State, with the best wide receivers, the best preparation. Ohio State knew where every blitz was coming from. They were never fooled. And you finally saw Schuler and Watts have to make plays to cover other guys. You finally saw that Notre Dame not being set or prepared pre-snap finally came back to haunt Notre Dame. On defense, when they're running around, they're subbing in a guy who isn't even getting his hand on the ground when the ball is snapped. That's what happens when you run into the best team in the country, and that was Ohio State this year.
Yeah.
And I wish that we could look at our teams objectively, take the emotion out of it, analyze Notre Dame, analyze, like smash the numbers. When you come in here talking about, having an orgy at quarterback, what did we tell you about your quarterback room this year? You guys were never going to be able to throw the football to win.
But Monty, he's going to be a Heisman Trophy candidate.
And he's not even at Michigan anymore. Now, you have come, and again, I know you have this great quarterback room, but what'd you do? You went out and got the best available quarterback, which is exactly what.
And credit to you.
Exactly what Michigan should be doing because they're flipping Michigan.
Yeah.
Notre Dame went and got Riley Leonard. Ohio State went and got Will Howard. I want you to hold your team, whether it's Notre Dame, West Virginia. I don't give a rat's ass who it is.
Stillwater.
Hold your team to the highest level. What did we tell you about Utah and Cam Rising? You've got to stop talking about Cam Rising. What did Utah do? They fired their offensive coordinator. A slew of kids transferred. You hired Jason Beck, who brought in one of the best offenses in the country. Now we'll see if that translates to the Big 12. But he brought in, Kyle Whittingham went out and brought in the exact opposite of everything he's ever done at Utah. High power, throw it around the field, run, like be different schematically, like the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it helps that you've probably got the best right tackle in the league. And it helps that your offensive line is stout. And it helps that your defense is going to be one of the best defenses in the country again. But what did you do at Oak State? What'd you do at Baylor? What'd you do at TCU? What'd you do at BYU? BYU went and got better again.
Yeah.
Yet here we are talking about Notre Dame and Riley Leonard's a legend. No, he's not a legend. Riley Leonard, get it through your head. Riley Leonard's not a legend. It's cool. His mom texted him, "You suck," and he wears the cross on his face and shit. That's all well and good. He's not good enough to be the starting quarterback at Notre Dame. And until Irish fans come around to that, we're going to keep having Riley Leonard's at quarterback. Do you understand we don't have a starting quarterback next year? Our best available quarterback is coming off of elbow surgery, in all likelihood. So I'm not the guy who's going to sit here and tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you the truth. And the truth is, Riley Leonard should have never been at Notre Dame. He was only at Notre Dame because when he came in last year against Notre Dame for Duke, he ran all over you. And he dominated you and damn near beat you. And so you signed him. It just is as simple as that. Anyway, Monty, tell me how you really feel. JC, and I totally appreciate, I don't mean to rail on. I lose my patience with, oh, they're nice boys. And look how shiny those helmets are. And look at Marcus. I had a Notre Dame fan on TikTok tell me that Marcus is the example of fitness. Why do we care? Give me fat ass Charlie Weiss if he's going to win a game.
Do you even lift?
Give me a guy that eats burgers and fries and seed oil all day if he's going to win a game.
Seed oil.
Look how, he's the model of fitness. Well, then why are other Notre Dame fans saying that Ohio State just got lucky because they had fewer injuries? Fewer injuries in football is not luck. It's not luck. Anyway. Smash Boy, you sure sound butthurt. Ohio State won and you have to deal with it the whole offseason. Well, actually, the Michigan fans just going to talk about planting the flag at the shoe and the fact that it's been 2,000 days since Michigan lost to Ohio State.
Yeah, I know what time it is.
I don't know. I'm in this position where it wears me out that we in sports can't tell the truth about our teams.
Mm-hmm.
Did anybody see what happened at the Laker game last night? I'm not talking about a dribble of a basketball or a shot. What am I talking about, do you think? LeBron James and Roki Sasaki.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody see that moment last night? Anybody notice that? Roki Sasaki, arguably the best available arm in the pitching market from Japan. Could have gone to any team. Where did he go?
Yeah.
The Dodgers.
And why did he do that?
Because he wants to win.
Yeah.
So, and this is the other part of this that I think is interesting. Oh, Ohio State bought their championship. And your point is what?
Your point is that your team didn't? Is that it?
Well, the Dodgers are buying World Series titles. And your point is what? I don't understand. Is this a complaint or are you just making a statement of
why
fact?
do we play the game?
Roki Sasaki and LeBron James dapping up on the sideline at crypto is exactly what I want if I'm an LA sports fan. I expect the Lakers to win every year. I expect the Dodgers to win every year. And I expect them to spend a lot of money doing it. I'm a Chicago Bears fan. We're the worst team in the NFL, arguably, this past season.
You know, everybody always says that the Lakers suck and they're terrible and Bron's overrated. I'll tell you this. It's a hell of a time to be an LA sports fan if you really think about it. The Dodgers are World Series good. They're winning. And your terrible, awful dumpster fire basketball team, allegedly in the LA Lakers, are watching the final days of one of the best basketball players of all time. Yeah, real terrible to be an LA fan.
Try being a Chicago fan.
Yeah. Yeah, real terrible.
I just sat here and poured my heart out on Notre Dame. The Bulls are terrible. The Bears hired an offensive coordinator with no head coaching experience, and we're one of the worst teams in the NFL over the last probably 5 years. Haven't been when was the last time I think 20, I can't remember the last time we were even relevant. Right? Aaron Rodgers is a minority owner of the Chicago Bears. We got to stop doing this thing where we're like, oh, they bought a championship. And that's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Anyway, that awkward guy, LA is a terrible city. No, it's not. Breaking news, LA is where everybody wants to live.
Yeah.
It's not a terrible city. I was talking to somebody yesterday. It was so funny. Monday, I was working out, doing a golf workout, and a bunch of people were watching Trump's inauguration. And there was a part of the conversation about how terrible California was and that there was a mass exodus from California, which there's not. The statistics show that people didn't evacuate California. And so I said to this guy, if you could afford to live in Huntington Beach, would you? Yeah, absolutely. Oh, but it's such a crap hole. Like, we don't, yeah, anyway, it's fine. Try being a San Francisco fan. God, I hate the dogs. The dogs.
I'm assuming that means the Dodgers, but I don't know.
I don't know what you mean, the dogs. The Giants had a run of World Series titles.
Yeah.
Just coincided with when I was there. But the Lincecum, Kane, Brian Wilson, Buster Posey years.
And now Posey's running that thing. Hopefully it turns around.
Ferris Khan, there are more people that live in LA County, 11 million, than 40 out of 50 states.
Yeah.
But there's a mass exodus, Ferris.
Yeah, it's a terrible state. You know,
the truth about it is California livable? No. Is it affordable? No. Does it have good air quality? No. Does the whole thing burn down once a decade? Yes.
They got to turn the water faucet back on. That's, part
right, because they cut the hydrants off.
Yeah.
Which they didn't. Is California a great place to live? Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. The dog beach, the golf courses, the weather where it's 70 and sunny, the food. There's actual real Mexicans cooking Mexican food.
Man, is it good.
Like California's, the truth is California's not a bad place to live. Does it have issues? Yes. I live in Utah. Mrs. Monty and I are driving to get, where were we going? Oh, we were going to pick up our car from the dealership because it was getting serviced. You could not see the mountains.
Yeah.
You know the mountains that Oak State James wants to block with an upper deck? You couldn't see the mountains because of the air quality. Like, everybody's got issues. Is Utah a great place to live? Yes. Is it a great place to raise a family? Yes. Can you afford to live here? Not really. Have you seen real estate in Utah lately?
So bad, dude.
Truth. Zona Tucson, good morning. Steinecker, try being a Bungles fan. Oh, try being a Cleveland sports fan.
But
although this year I think the Cavs are the best team in the NBA, but
they are. But the Bungles had a really strong finish to the year.
Bro, did you see they caught the guys that broke into Burrow's house?
Yes.
And what were they? Chilean gang members in the country illegally. And you know what they told the cops when they got caught? Hey, well, what are you guys doing in Cincinnati? Oh, we'd never seen snow before. We drove up to see the snow. Why is there a Joe Burrow jersey and hat in your back seat? These assholes are driving around. We get this.
So wait a
minute. You just robbed Joe Burrow. You went to a hardware store and bought one of those tools that breaks windows. These guys were, nobody said criminals were smart, friends. So let me get this right. You robbed Joe Burrow's house while he was playing a football game, and he had a house sitter there. You broke in the back window. with a tool you bought at a hardware store and they have the receipt. You robbed him blind and you left the stuff you stole from him in your car?
Because it's all part of the plan.
You are not smart, sir. You are not smart.
Don't fuck.
You go directly to jail.
Yeah.
But at least they caught the guy, right? At least they caught the guy. Kale Mitchell. I hate them because I live in Michigan and it's -10. I hate them because I ain't them. Well,
It's true.
that's probably true. The Hawaiian golfer. Ooh, let's see what kind of mood you're in today. People can love an area yet at the same time hate the politics of the area. Oh, there's no question about it. There's no question about it. And it is, I love Utah. Do I like the fact that we're a hardcore Republican state with terrible leadership and nobody willing to do anything about opioids? No, I don't. Do I hate that? Like, we're going to talk about the Jazz. Do I hate that because you're in the LDS church, you get a fast track to whatever it is you want to do? Yeah, I do. I hate that. I do. JC, I used to change into my wetsuit on the street by the side of my car. Boogie boarding is the best. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Dude, if you have never, anyway. Norge, Shanghai has more people than all but a few states. I would not want to live there. What does Shanghai have to do with anything? You say some of the most off-the-wall things. Like, what does, so let me get this right. Shanghai should compare to Los Angeles? No. Utah, real blue skies, Cali, black and brown skies. I got news for you. You can't see the sky here a lot of days. We have massive mountains. The Wasatch Mountains.
Some of the best in the world.
And you cannot see them because of the air quality here. Tom Dean, if you could live in any city in the U.S. and money was no issue, I would live in Huntington Beach.
Yeah.
I'd live on the water in Southern California. Done. I don't even have to think about it. I don't even have to think about it. The sunsets at Encinitas and Carlsbad are super deluxe. I can play tennis outside every day year round. I don't need square footage in SoCal because you can always be outside.
Yeah, and that's kind of the conundrum with SoCal, some people are like that. Hey, I'll live in a shoebox because I can be outside all the time, not home much.
Nebraska Red Bull 11. Hold on, Pokemon cards are in Happy Meals now? Yes. And we're going to talk about this here in about 30 minutes. McDonald's has put a 4-pack of Pokemon cards in Happy Meals. And adults are losing their minds trying to get their hands on it. Norge, I grew up in Carlsbad, exception to the California rule. Okay. UW fan Jim, the Seattle Mariners have never been to the World Series. Ichiro in the Hall of Fame.
Who is the jackwagon who didn't vote for Ichiro? 99.7% of the vote.
One person. And we're going to find out who it is. They released the ballots. One person didn't put Ichiro in the Hall of Fame. You're an idiot. That awkward guy, he's a Shanghai Sharks fan. There you go.
Right, that's the connection.
Jeremy Bolton. Hello, Mayor McCluskey. Utah is the greatest. If you time it right, you can snow ski and water ski in the same day. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I was looking at old pictures of snowboarding. Sometimes I miss it.
Mm-hmm.
Not often. I probably live my life too fearful. I'm waiting, by the way, and we can have this debate. I'm waiting right now to get notified if I got tickets to see the Cubs and Dodgers in Tokyo.
Mm-hmm.
Would you guys go to that series? It'd be 4 days, and you know damn well you're going to see Shohei Ohtani. It's probably Ohtani and Magana pitching against each other in the Tokyo Dome.
Mm-hmm.
Jake says he's not going, and I said there's no way I'm not going. I am so excited about it.
Yeah, listen, the deal is it's not that I'm not excited about it. Number one, Shanghai. What?
I give up on the Big 12.
I don't know what this is in reference to.
Big 12 Media Days.
Uh-huh.
Where do you think Big 12 Media Days is going to be?
The Omni Hotel.
You think Dallas, right? How about fucking Frisco, Texas? What are we doing? What are we doing?
Whoa. Frisco, Texas?
Big 12 Media Days will be at the Star in Frisco, Texas, July 8th and 9th. The conference plans to rotate their media days moving forward. 1 year in Dallas, 1 year outside of the area. Last year's event was in Las Vegas. I'm not saying that Frisco is far from Dallas, but it ain't Dallas and it ain't Las Vegas.
And it makes you small time, bro. Gosh.
Anyway, I am all in on going to the Cubs and Dodgers in Tokyo. I'm here for it.
Okay, let me ask you this. I'm really curious about this. So you're somebody who's very, I would say, vigilant about how often you're around large crowds and people, and like you're
vaccinated. I have my flu shot.
Right.
Yep.
You're a sheep. We've
totally get it. Elon hates me. I get it.
Right. So does that doesn't play a factor in this at all for you?
I have made the decision that I am going to live my life as freely as I can. I'm 52 years old on February 19th. I am going to live my life as freely as I can. And I'm going to take precautions. If there's a real good chance that if I fly to Tokyo, I'll probably wear a mask on that flight while I sleep. I am vaccinated. I have my flu shot. I live a very healthy lifestyle. I'm going to go see the Cubs and Dodgers in Tokyo if I can. I'm going to do everything I can to protect myself, but you're goddamn right, I'm going to have some sushi when I'm in Japan. Do you know how long I've wanted to go to Japan? And now that the Cubs and Dodgers are there, and I pay through my rectum to have Cubs season tickets. Yeah, they say, hey, my wife entered the drawing. My wife handles the ticket
now,
stuff.
Is this an additional cost on top of having season? It is.
It is. Yes, it is. Yeah. And if you say no, I'm punching you in the face.
You know what, dude? Everybody ain't able. So you go ahead and knock yourself out.
What are you not able to do?
Do you understand how expensive that trip is? Like, do you understand
it's
that's
airfare and
that's that, bro? It's not. We're not flying we're not flying 2 hours to another city. That's international airfare, dude.
Yeah. Alumindursky, is Shanghai a candidate for some international game? I have no idea. Monty, no Monties. The stars at night are big and bright deep in the heart of Texas. It is.
You can't be in Frisco, dude.
I'm
sorry.
You cannot do it.
Come on.
You cannot do that.
I would be okay with Houston. Hell, you want to go to Fort Worth? Okay. Not Frisco, man. I'm sorry.
And Frisco, Texas has great golf courses. Don't get me wrong.
It's not a bad town. That's not the point. It's just not a big enough town to be doing your media days in.
It is. How far is Frisco? It's probably 40 minutes north of Plano, certainly, right? It's probably 40 minutes north of Dallas. Why aren't you just doing it in Dallas? Oh, because the SEC's. This is a horrible look, in my opinion. This is a horrible look. Yeah. Almost 2,000 views and only 35 likes. Please hit the like button. It really makes a difference. If you are watching on Spotify, if you are watching on X, Facebook, Twitch, no matter where you're watching the show, please come over to YouTube, give us a subscribe, and please hit the like button. It makes a huge difference on the show. Jay McClanahan. Whoa. Monty, if you had the chance of seeing live Notre Dame in a Natty or the Bears in a Super Bowl, what would you choose?
Well, I think it depends on the location.
I've seen both, like in person. I would not want to go to those games in person. I've said this 1,000 times. Football's way better on TV. I'm not going to Gayha Field to watch the Chiefs. Any chance I have to say Gayha, I'm all in. I am somebody that at least in my lifetime, I've seen Notre Dame win a national championship. And I remember it. I've seen the Bears win a Super Bowl, and I remember it. I've seen the Cubs win a World Series, the Hawks win a Stanley Cup. I would like to see that stuff as an adult. I'd like to see the Bears win a Super Bowl and Notre Dame win a national championship. If I had to pick one, I would probably take. Man, it'd be so meaningful for the Bears to win a Super Bowl again. I don't even know what that would feel like. I never thought I'd see the Cubs do it, and I was kind of numb when it happened.
Which I was surprised by.
But I don't know.
We're going to be pumped.
Yeah. Tom Dean, Frisco is an outer suburb of Dallas. Would the Big Ten hold their conference in Aurora outside of Chicago?
No. No.
Or in Lafayette, Indiana instead of Indianapolis? No, they wouldn't.
Man, dude.
What is the Big 12 thinking? If it's not Dallas, then go back to Vegas like last year. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I want to buy a parcel of land in Cayucos, California, and live in my fifth wheel and chill on the beach. You should. Kale, you live in Utah but have Cubs season tickets. How do you make that work? I know it's crazy. Airplanes. I know. Chemtrails, airplanes. I sell about 95% of my tickets, and I will probably go back 3 times a year. Going opening day against San Diego for that weekend.
See, I'm going to that one.
Whatever. Going to probably 4th of July, which is, I think, Washington. Can't go on my wife's birthday in early September because she's got a triathlon or something. So I'll probably go back 3 times. And it's a for-profit business. I have Cubs spring training season tickets that I sell, and I have 2 bleacher seats season tickets that I love every day. Common sense, Frisco sucks. Okay. Jeremy Bolton, when I think power football, I think Frisco, Texas.
Come on, man. Come on.
Frisco is trash, Common Sense says. Stadium guy James, good morning. Frisco is where the Dallas Cowboys have their practice facility. I was just in Frisco last weekend. Lots of good restaurants.
Yeah, but nobody knows that. Like, nobody cares.
Yeah. Frisco has an amazing Golden Corral.
Man.
James was there.
Wow.
And the Buc-ee's there. My God.
Man, dude.
The stadium guy, James. Arrowhead Stadium is amazing. What's Arrowhead Stadium?
Yeah, I don't know what Arrowhead is.
No one in KC calls it Gay Hop Field.
Well, Monty, it's not it's Roma Dunze, not Jim Rome. You know, that's what I was referring to, you know?
James, do you think I'm calling it Gay Hop Field? Do you think I'm calling it Gay Hop Field because I think that's the name of it, or that people call it that? Do you think I don't know it's Arrowhead Stadium?
Well, Monty, it's Arrowhead, you know? Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
And it's not Gayha. It's GEHA Insurance. I believe it's an insurance company. Gayha's way better. It just is way better. It's way better. Tom Dean, would you go to Gayha Field if you could sit next to Taylor? No, I would go if I could sit next to Caitlin Clark, you fraud. I was so disappointed to see Katie in the box with Tay-Tay. All right, let's move on. Troy Roach, I follow college ball way more than the NFL, but take the Bengals losses harder. Like you, a Bengals Super Bowl would mean more. I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Fort Worth would rock, David says. Yeah, I agree, David.
See, but like you could sell Fort Worth. You could say, okay, well, hey, it's TCU. Like, you know, that's a major, we have a major presence in that town. Like, we're going to go to Fort Worth.
Yeah. Jeremy Bolton. Guys. If you could rename any field in the 80s, would you choose Gay Hop Field?
What, Monty? Nobody in Kansas City calls it Gay Hop Field. They all call it Arrowhead. Don't you know that?
Ferris, what is this Frisco, Texas, and why are we talking about it? Exactly right. Damian Fowler, that's right there is why I came back to the show. God, I miss James's you know, Monty, it's Arrowhead Stadium. It's not Gayha Field.
And, the view from Monty Copter 69 is really quality here.
Nobody thinks of Gayha Field. You know, they call it Arrowhead, right? You know that after the water company? No, it's not after the water company.
Yeah, and we turned the switch on today too, and the water's really flowing out here at Gayha Field. You know?
I was at an AM PM Quick Trip Buc-ee's the other day, and we were all talking about Arrowhead. Nobody even said Gayha Field. Idiot. UW fan Jim, the Seattle hockey team should call their home the Crack House and fans the Crackheads.
Oh my God, dude. I don't want to talk about the Jazz today and this hockey team. But you leave us no choice. See, this is the position we get put in. So let's review. Before we get to this, let's review. I just want to make sure we're on the same page. So all preseason, before the year started with the Utah Hockey Club, we said what was the hockey club going to be? Well, the hockey club was going to be the new car, right? The new shiny toy that everyone's excited about. And we're renovating the building, and Ryan Smith is getting $1 gazillion billion to redo downtown, and everything's going to be amazing, and all that. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, what did we say? Hey, well, why is it that we're giving this dude a hockey team when he hasn't done anything with the basketball team? So then we're halfway through the year here about so. Jazz are terrible. But the hockey club's a playoff team, right? I mean, because that's what everybody says.
Mm-hmm.
Hockey club is crushing it. Everything's amazing.
Building's full. Clayton Keller took a puck to the face. Yeah, what a guy.
Captain, right? Like Ryan Smith is all over it. The hockey club is not in the playoffs right now.
Proclaiming success 4 months into a project is very Utah. And listen, I have said this repeatedly. If you're new to the show, we've talked about this a lot. I am a hockey fan, a big time hockey fan. I love the Chicago Blackhawks, the worst team in the NHL. 34 points. Congratulations. I love the Chicago Blackhawks. Nobody in this market was like, dude, we got to get an NHL team. Oh, excuse me. Ryan Smith, the owner of the Jazz and the Yetis to be, he was the one clamoring. And the fact that the building has been full does not mean hockey's been a success here. It does not mean that the fact he was given a billionaire, Ryan Smith, the owner of the Jazz and the Yeti to be, was given $1 billion in taxpayer money without a public vote, just as by the stroke of a pen, given $1 billion in taxpayer money and very little oversight. We're 4 months in, and Utah fans are proclaiming victory with the hockey club. I have told you, I think that they are going to compete. I think that Ryan Smith has no choice but to do everything he can do to keep that building full, because if that building's not full, and it won't be full if they're bad. Let's get something very straight right now. Utah fans of any sport do not show up when the team's bad.
Mm-hmm.
If that hockey team is bad, that building will not be full. He's going to do everything he can do, I think, to run it just like the Jazz. Put them right at the line. What are they, 4 points off a wild card spot?
A wild card spot, yeah.
Right at the line. A little more than halfway through the season.
Hey, show up, support the team. We're right there. We're going to barely get in.
Right at the line. Building a new stadium for you, building a custom practice facility at the mall, like right at the line. And my question is, what does success look like since you took the hockey team from Arizona and moved them to Utah? What is the bar of success? Because it ain't 4 months in with a full building and not a playoff team. That's not success. It's not writing a billionaire $1 billion check with no oversight. That's not success. If everybody here was clamoring for a hockey team, why didn't you put it on a ballot? Because everybody certainly that was clamoring for the hockey team would have voted for it. Because it wouldn't have passed. Because nobody here was clamoring for a hockey team. 4 months in, big success. We won. Not yet. Not yet. And we continue to do this because nobody here is clamoring for an NBA team. Oh, wait, we don't have one. Nobody here is clamoring for an MLB team. And the Smith group, I think doesn't give a rat's ass about baseball. But because the Smith group is involved in the NHL, big win, victory, we've achieved You haven't. You haven't. You just haven't. And the Miller group may well bring Major League Baseball to Salt Lake City. Nobody here wants it.
Yeah.
Nobody here wants it. You wouldn't go to AAA baseball games. And now you move Smith Field, named after a grocery store, not the billionaire who needed $1 billion. You move Smith Field to Daybreak, and everybody's going to say, whoa, look at the full stadium. Holy cow, we got to get a major league team. Well, why is the stadium in Daybreak going to be full? Because it's the new shiny diamond.
And to that end, it's a great business plan that they have for it, right?
It is.
Where have they put it? They've put it in and again, I'm giving them credit here on the baseball stadium from a business perspective. You put this thing in a really smart spot.
I
You
agree.
orientated it so that the mountains are in the background.
Yep.
And you put it in
The
a spot.
copper mine.
You put it in a spot, but nobody outside of Utah is going to know that. Right.
Yes.
So you put it in a spot where there's mountains in the background, and then you put it in a spot where everybody can walk to it. So parking's not going to be a huge issue for the local communities. What is going to be an issue, though, is once we get through the new car smell phase, which I'm waiting for with the stadium, with the hockey club, and you're not winning, then what do we have?
When minor league baseball goes back to being minor league baseball,
what do we have?
When the hockey club turns into what the Jazz are now, because Ryan Smith is not going to spend money to win championships. Until he does, my point is, let's not declare victory. Did you guys see what the Jazz did yesterday?
Yeah, let's talk about this.
What do you guys think of this? The Utah Jazz yesterday traded 3 first-round picks to Phoenix, the Suns, for Phoenix's 2031 unprotected pick. And Bobby Marks at ESPN, who I respect the hell out of, worked with him, really smart guy. Jazz are consolidating their draft picks. People are saying it's an unequivocal win for the Jazz to get a 2031 unprotected pick. Well, let me ask you something. What happened to all in the pooper for Cooper? What happened to we're in a rebuild and we're going to win? We will spare no expense. What happened to that?
No, don't forget. We're going to go big game hunting.
What happened to that? What happened to all the assets you've acquired? We're going to trade them away for a pick that's 6 years away? Oh, well, the Suns are going to be bad at that point in 6 years. And I'd remind you, the owner of the Suns is a billionaire real estate mortgage mogul
who has proven he is willing to spend.
Named Matt Ishbia, who is spending an exorbitant amount of money. And why did Matt Ishbia trade for those 3 draft picks? He turned 1 first-round pick in 2031 into 3 first-round picks, and they're never going to make those selections in Phoenix because they're going to trade them with Bradley Beal as part of a multi-team deal to acquire Jimmy Butler from Miami. Now, the Jazz will be picking in 2031 because we just assume that pick is going to be with the Jazz in 2031.
And they're going to be, I saw this all over Twitter yesterday, right? They're going to be a 40-50 win team, right? So I just want to make sure we're putting this in context with what that level of winning means. Right now, the Oklahoma City Thunder are the best team in the Western Conference. They're 35-7 halfway through the season. Okay, so they're pacing for 60 wins. Okay, let's dial it back a little bit, right? We'll dial it back a little bit to, a 20-ish win team. 20-ish win teams in the Western Conference would be the Mavericks, the Lakers, the Clippers, 22, 23, 24 wins. You're pacing for the mid-40s in wins. You're a playoff team. Okay, so you're saying the win here, and this is what I'm trying to understand. So the win here is, hey, we're going to be a 40 to 50 win team, a playoff team come 2031. And we're going to draft high in the draft because this is an unprotected pick. So we're going to add a rookie phenom to an already rebuilt team, and that's what's going to put us over the top. And that this pick is more valuable than the lesser of the 3 other picks that you gave up. That's the logic here.
All you're saying is you're not going to win anytime soon.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
That's what you're saying,
because
you don't need these picks.
Consolidating the picks. We can call it, here's the plan. Bro, I got news for you, man. I've been waiting, and again, I love Danny Ainge's story and his career in the NBA. I've been waiting for Danny Ainge to show up again since the Rudy Gobert trade happened. I've been waiting for some foundational trade that's going to set the franchise on the correct path. Do you really think I want to talk college football every single day for every single year? Do you really think that I want to not talk about the Jazz or not talk NBA? You're giving us nothing. There's nothing here. And yesterday, Jazz Twitter was all about, oh my God, what a great pick. This makes perfect sense. Danny Ainge is aging again. You know, you've got beat writers in this town talking about Danny Ainge is blowing the smoke off of his finger gun with this trade. What are you talking about? Like, this team is not good. And albeit they weren't supposed to be good this year, but they're not good. You're last in the West with 10 wins.
You're not moving in the right direction.
Right? Like, what are we doing? What is the, and you're right. Where is the pooper for Cooper sentiment? Like, you're 10-31. The worst team in the league is the Washington Wizards at 6-36. Let me get this right. You're, and again, in the NBA, it's not guaranteed. It's not like the NFL, obviously. But you're not even the worst team in the NBA. And if you're not careful, you're not going to be one of the 4 or 5 worst teams if you keep messing around in the second half of the year. Because the other teams that you're competing with to get the best odds in the lottery with the ping pong balls are 11-32 with the Raptors, 11-28 with Charlotte, and 14-30 with Brooklyn. Like, they're not unequivocally the worst team in the league and absolutely doing everything that they can do to get the best odds. So how am I, as someone who covers this team and pays attention, how am I supposed to be excited about this trade, what this team is doing? By the way, and notice we haven't talked about it, where is all the push for the Jazz app and the Smith Entertainment Group app and like all the excitement about that? You don't really hear about that anymore, do you? Oh, that's right. Because what happened? They went through a ton of blackout issues that nobody talked about. I'm telling you, it got pushed down. So now we don't really hear about that anymore. So my point just is that to bring this full circle, you're exactly right. All this is proclaiming success 4 months into a process and trying to do a trade here, a trade there, and gift wrapping them as these magnificent transactions that are setting us up for just an incredible run.
Yeah.
I got news for you. I will not believe that this team drafts well until they actually start drafting well. I'm not buying into the narratives and these stories we're being told. I need to see it in real life.
Yeah. I'm very interested to see where Salt Lake City is as a sports town in 5 years. Will the Jazz or the Utah Hockey Club have won a championship? Will Utah or BYU have won a college football playoff game? Will the Salt Lake Bees have turned into a Major League Baseball team? I don't think so. And Ryan Smith, the free pass that Ryan Smith gets from the media in this town is truly remarkable. And it is what we do in Utah. We celebrate victory long before we should. BYU was the best team in the country. They were going to win the Big 12 and no, they didn't. Utah was going to win the Big 12 this year. No, they didn't. The Jazz are going in the right direction, and Danny Ainge and Ryan Smith, they're not. And now you're 4 months into the Utah hockey thing, and you see the building full. You're not in a playoff spot, and you have a pretty good road to climb to get to a playoff spot. You have multiple clubs you got to pass to get the wild card, and you're proclaiming victory.
Yeah.
You gave a billionaire $1 billion and no oversight. Where's the victory for those of us that live here that have to deal with this? There is none. There's no oversight. Put it on a ballot. You're not going to do that because you won't get what you want. Oh, there's huge demand for hockey here. Look at the buildings full every night. Why didn't you put it on a ballot? Because all those people would have voted for it, right? To give Ryan Smith $1 billion, unchecked, no oversight. They would have voted for that, right? It took a groundswell of support, a grassroots effort to save Abravanel Hall, which is where the symphony plays here in Salt Lake City. He wanted to get rid of that. And it took a loud crowd to save that building. Ryan Smith has zero oversight. Nobody asked hard questions. Why does a billionaire need $1 billion? If he's a billionaire, why are you telling me he has no friends?
Better yet, let me ask this question, because this is the one that y'all really don't like. Ryan Smith is supposed to be a billionaire and supposed to be really successful, right? Hey, really successful businessman, Qualtrics, and he was successful with Qualtrics. I think we can all agree on that.
Yes, absolutely.
However, this is a guy who will tell you, oh, well, it's all going exactly to plan. You haven't done anything with the Jazz, dude. The Jazz, all you did with the Jazz, and this is not hating, and I'll die on this hill. All he's done with the Jazz is strip this organization down and saved a bunch of money and put that new money into the hockey club. That's what he's done. Like, I don't know how we go against that. I don't know how you disagree with that. Like, and by the way, for all the people saying, oh, well, to have great odds in the lottery, you just got to be one of the 3 worst teams. That's true.
That is true.
3 worst teams are 14% to get. They each have a 14% chance to get the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. Here's my problem with that, or my concern with that. My concern is that you're 10-31, and too often you're 1 possession away from winning a ball game. Too often you're too close. So at 10-31, about halfway through, again, you're the 2nd worst team in the league. Washington's a 6-win team. They're by far the worst team in the league. But these 2 other teams right here, Toronto and Charlotte, at 11 wins. And closely behind them, New Orleans at 12 wins. You are 2, maybe 3 possessions away from not being top 3 in the lottery. If that happens, will anybody say anything?
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Brandon Butler, you just have to be bottom 3. Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
The stadium guy, James, if the Jazz don't get Cooper in the draft, the Jazz fans should refuse to go watch until Ryan Smith sells the team.
He's not going to sell the team, and people are still going to go.
Ryan Smith is tanking. Could be. Will be good in 6 years equals the mouse bites the cheese, which triggers the trap that springs the cause and causes the hammer to hit the match that lights the candle.
Yeah.
Could be. Capazzo. SLC as a sports town will look like crap because Ryan Smith is just trying to milk the fan base for all he can. And until he shows that he is willing to reach in his pocket and spend his money, there's no reason to believe that, like, he talked about how no expense will be spared for the Jazz to win. I'm going to say he's spared some expense. It goes back to the Jordan Clarkson decision, the back and forth and the behind the scenes tug of war that was Jordan Clarkson opting in or opting out. How bad does that move look now?
Yeah.
And if you trade Walker Kessler, I think that's a huge mistake.
And again, you tweeted yesterday, this sends a really bad message to the fan base. And I agree with that. Who roundly support it. Which is crazy. Ryan Smith has no friends. The thing that bothers me the most about this situation with Ryan Smith and the Jazz, if you're a billionaire, and on paper, Ryan Smith is a billionaire, why are you taking $1 billion public handout? Well, Monty, all owners do that. Did Steve Ballmer do that? When he built the Intuit Dome in Los Angeles, who paid for that? He did.
Did public money go into building the Intuit Dome for the Clippers? Not a penny. Privately financed, privately funded by Steve Ballmer. If you're a billionaire and you're the Cronkies or you're the Ballmers, you have friends. If you're Tom Brady, you have friends. And Tom Brady's a great example of friending yourself into ownership. The Wrexham example.
Yeah.
Go in with your friends. But the days of taking money from the public should be over. The Chicago Bears cannot get public financing, and Ryan Smith was handed a blank check. Do you guys understand that there was no public vote on the $1 billion that they gave Ryan Smith, and he has pretty much full reign to renovate multiple city blocks in Salt Lake? No public vote. In Kansas City, we joke about Arrowhead and Geha, and did they just write a blank check, stroke a pen, and tell people you're gonna pay to renovate this stadium? No, they put it on a ballot, and what happened? The Kansas City Chiefs, the vaunted Arrowhead, they said, no, we're not going to pay publicly to renovate that.
See, and at least in that scenario, I can get down with what ownership's trying to do. You're making all this bread, and you don't feel like you should have to pay for it because you're winning. So you feel like you're justified in having the public pay for it. Okay, at least I can get down with the fact you're being brash about it. At least like you're owning it. You're saying, hey, like we're winning and we're winning a ton and we have a dynasty. If you want us to stay here, go ahead and pay for it. Okay, you may not like that.
And you don't have to.
And you don't have to. And you can shoot down that vote. But at least we're transparent. At least we're being honest about like how we all feel about it. That doesn't happen here.
And I truly think it irks Jazz fans more that he is allegedly putting resources into BYU basketball, which he denies. But you don't get AJ DeBansa the way that you got him without donor and NIL money. You don't have the head coach at BYU unless you have donor money and NIL money.
So wait, Ryan Smith owns the Utah Jazz. He went through NBA circles to get to Kevin Young, who's now the head coach at BYU. And as part of the recruitment process for AJ DeBansa, you went and got Kevin Durant, who was formerly playing for Kevin Young, an assistant on that roster, to help you talk to AJ to get him to go to BYU. Now, Ryan Smith didn't have anything to do with that. No, he didn't put any money into that. There's no connections there. Come on, dude.
Yeah, I think it is very interesting that we are in a position here where this is how business gets done. This is how business gets done. And I think it is very interesting that it's just a blank check, man. There's no oversight. It's wild.
Must be nice, dude.
Big difference between the Chefs and the White Sox, right? Well, the White Sox can't get public funding for a new stadium in downtown. They shouldn't. The Bears can't get public funding for a stadium downtown on the lakefront, and they shouldn't. That's just my opinion. All right, before we get out of here, can we talk about Happy Meals, please?
Yes. First of all,
I love this story.
On premise alone, before we get to the Pokemon portion, is it okay as an adult to go and buy Happy Meals? Just on a surface level. You roll up to the McDonald's drive-thru. Hey, can I get, what do you get? 3 of them? 3 Happy Meals? Is that okay? Like, do you feel like
McDonald's announced that their new Happy Meal promotion is with Pokemon, and you get 4 Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
In a Happy Meal. So adults, it started yesterday, adults swarmed on McDonald's and we're trying to buy up all the Pokemon cards. And I'm not judging them. I'm not trying to judge people. But if your whole adult life is put into, gotta get the Pokemon cards from MacD's nuts, there's a problem. I tell you every day, don't eat at McDonald's. Don't eat fast food. It's terrible for you. Occasionally, okay, I get it. Don't eat fast food on a regular basis.
Yeah.
You have adults driving around their entire cities, going to every McDonald's trying to get Happy Meals.
What are we doing, bro?
Oh, but the recession and people are broke unless there's Pokemon cards in a Happy Meal. It's crazy to me that adults are collecting toys.
How much does a Happy Meal cost now? Is it like $2?
No,
like,
it's got to be more than that.
Is it like $5 now? Because I remember as a kid getting Happy Meals, and they come in the box and they got the arches on top and the little toy comes in the box, and you felt special. You felt upper class because you got a Happy Meal. And I just sit here and I say, bro, are the Pokemon cards they're putting in these Happy Meals are they like some of the most valuable Pokemon cards available?
$3 to $5.
Okay.
Restaurants accept regional variations that create the range of $3 to $5.
Yeah, if you're $3 to $5, like, I guess, I mean, that's cool. But I just don't understand how you have a situation where you've got all these people driving around to their different McDonald's in town and like, this is just okay.
I probably shouldn't be judging people, but I am. When's the last time you ate at McDonald's?
Oh, it's been a long time. I mean, I I tend to agree. Eating fast food is not great for you. I'm not a big McDonald's guy, generally speaking. I do like their breakfast. That was the last time I ate at McDonald's, probably like 6-8 weeks ago, maybe something like that. Yeah, McDonald's breakfast is hard to beat, but I am shocked by this that people are so passionate about a Pokemon card that they would drive around their city trying to buy them. I mean, I remember Pokemon Go. You guys remember Pokemon Go during the pandemic? People would be driving around. They're like, all right, yeah, we're 10 miles down the road over here to the left. Like we're driving around our city getting Pokemon cards, and I don't know. I just have better ways to burn time. I'm not that passionate about a Pokemon card coming in a Happy Meal. And then apparently, what do you do after that? Do you sell the Pokemon card? Do you what is the process? Because I'm sitting here saying I'm not going to Jack or McDonald's or Carl's Jr. or Burger King has done things like this in the past. I'm not going around to my different options to buy Pokemon cards.
You're really
to
not.
Make money. No, I'm not, dude. Like I'm not. And again, it's this whole concept of Pokemon Go. Pokemon card. Like, dude, people are obsessed with Pokemon, and I understand as a kid it was huge. But would anybody in the comment section still do this? I mean, would you guys legit drive around your town to get Pokemon cards?
And this is my point, Mr. Preston. You can go and buy just the toy and the cards. Well, I know it's great. Why don't you just go to the toy store and buy Pokemon cards if that's get on Amazon? Are you telling me that Amazon does not have...
What about eBay?
I'm not ever buying on no eBay.
Okay, Amazon. Pokemon cards. Okay, come right up.
Yeah, you can buy them. Yeah, they're all over Amazon. I don't understand this.
Yeah, someone make this make sense, bro.
I don't. A Happy Meal is almost $8 regionally, depending on where you live. This is true. Can we get a Happy Meal with a raccoon meat burger? Ask for the Dallas Cowboys owner. Yes, exactly right. Delaric, getting a Happy Meal because you want a snack but to get it for some cards, you need to be taken out back and beaten.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, what are we doing?
Jeremy says, no, grow up. Exactly right. The stadium guy, James, oh boy. The McGriddle sandwiches are amazing. Don't do it often, but when I do, it's fantastic. Yeah. Kale says priorities, people. Yep. Welcome to the nightmare. Adults used to do the same thing when they would do the Monopoly game. Yes. Remember, you used to go around and collect the Monopoly board and try to win money that you never had any chance of winning.
But you still bought the Happy Meal.
Yeah.
You still spent that bread.
Yeah, but Monopoly, yeah. But this is the genius of the real estate company McDonald's.
Yeah.
Because it's a real estate company.
Not a food company.
Like McRib. Remember the chicken sandwiches at Popeye when we lived in Phoenix and we drove to the ghetto to get one?
Yes.
That's the magic of
the
marketing.
Fish fillet.
That's the magic of marketing. And I am amazed by it. McDonald's sells just the toy. They do. I just got the Sonic toy for my son. It was $1.99. The meal is just $3.99 here in the Seattle area. The prices vary regionally.
Yeah.
So people know. Shades of childhood memories, Jake. These kids are doctors, lawyers, CPAs, finance professionals, and mega sports talk personalities working with their dad. They love Pokemon and can afford it.
Wow.
Or go to Tokyo.
I don't.
Let's go to Tokyo and get a Pokemon card, Jake. Kale, it came out that was legit a rigged scam. Monopoly? Was it really? The Monopoly game was rigged. Was it really?
I had no idea.
I did not know that. Like one guy got all the big winners and gave it to his friends and retired. Is that true? Why can't I get on that plan?
Dude, why can't I get a blank check for $1 billion?
Seriously. Anyway, I just find it interesting that it is very interesting. There's an entire documentary about how that Monopoly game was rigged. Fascinating to watch. Okay, I'll check that out. But it is fascinating to me. This is the Disneyland thing. I never understand. And I used to have a Disney season pass, and I never understand the love and affection for Disneyland. And how many adults are just
because here's the deal.
Enamored with it.
Here's the thing with Disneyland, Disney World, that situation. You have to allow yourself to check out a little bit and just appreciate that you're walking around a great theme park. It can't, like, if you go into a Disney World, Disneyland, and you're like, oh, like why do we have to wait in all these lines?
This is
terrible.
so expensive.
This is so expensive. Like, it's just like anything else, right? I mean, it's like
Tokyo's too expensive.
Yeah, like exactly. Like I you know, it's like tea times, right? Like when we spend $600 on a tea time, my first thought is, okay, well, if I'm spending that much, I got to have some stuff. Like there damn well better be like a nice ass driving range. You better have hot food waiting for me. Like you better have bag service. Like the locker room better be really not, like there are things that you inherently come to understand. But like with the whole Disney adult thing, I understand it for families.
The whole Disney adult thing.
Yeah, I understand it for families. Hey, it's because kids don't appreciate, like 5-year-olds don't appreciate like a steak dinner, right? They don't understand why going to Mastro's is cool, or like why that's really nice. It's a piece of meat to them. It might as well be a Happy Meal. It's the same thing. But if you take them to Disneyland or Disney World and they get to see their favorite character from whatever movie is hot at that time, that makes their day. And so that's where I think it's a little bit different. But this type of behavior with Pokemon cards and Happy Meals, that's where I'm like, hey, if you're doing that, you are not a bad person, but just obsessed.
Is it okay for adults to eat off of the kids' menu?
I don't think so. No. I don't. I mean,
why?
In practicality, sure, you're paying for it. I guess it doesn't matter, but I don't know, man.
Okay. A couple more, then we got to go. I bet you get free Pokemon cards when you buy some sweatpants and deodorant. Wow. Judgmental. People should waste their money how they want. I know a guy who lives in Utah and has Cubs season tickets. Yeah, who makes 3-1 on the cost of the season tickets.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's wasting money, sir.
Yeah, that's it's a business.
That's called profitability.
It is a business. The documentary is called McMillions. I'm going to check that out. Monty O's a ribeye. Pokemon card packs are selling for double online for newer sets, so people are buying out Target and Walmart. Is that true? People are crazy, though, fighting over cards. There are videos online of people fighting.
I think I saw, and I could be wrong, but select Costco's also picked up the Pokemon card pallets and were selling them. And there were videos online. Like there was, I don't remember where the Costco was, but there was a video of a Costco where this Costco had a queue of people, a line. And you to get access to the Pokemon card, you had to stand in the line and wait your turn, because if they just let everybody walk into Costco and buy them, there was like fights.
But this is the Paul Skeens autograph card.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear this story? Paul Skeens, the pitcher for the Pirates, autographed one card, and I don't even know who made it. Upper Deck, whoever. They inserted that one card into packs last spring. A kid pulled it recently, and the Pirates tops okay,
yeah.
The Pirates are offering this kid the world. Paul Skeens' hot ass girlfriend is offering to split her luxury suite with this kid. They're offering him jerseys, season tickets, meet and greets, the whole nine. A collector is telling this kid, "Don't do the pirate thing. I'll give you $400,000 for it."
The season tickets that they're offering the kid could be worth anywhere between $240,000 to $2 million, right? Plus, jerseys, other collectibles as part of that package.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
yeah,
this to me, the Skeens card to me is a little different, because this guy came in after the All-Star break and won Rookie of the Year and the Cy Young and all that great stuff. This guy's the best pitcher, the best young pitcher in Major League Baseball, and probably the best pitcher.
Well, and it feels less rectal because a kid is the one who pulled it.
And it's not Pokemon, with all due respect. It's Paul Skeens. Like, you know what I mean?
It's not Pokemon, you losers.
Yeah, like, come on, bro.
Stadium Guy James, adults should never get a Happy Meal. Get a 20-piece nugget, basket of fries, large Dr. Pepper. That's how a grown man does it. Yeah. And you're also the one that had blood in your butthole. And you're the one trying to...
Bro, chill.
He did. Am I wrong? He's the one who put that out there on a YouTube video.
Dude, he did.
Delaric, as at fast food, kids menus is fine, but not at restaurants.
Okay, I don't disagree with that. Yeah.
Kids menu is better portion and price than regular meals in fast food. I'll allow it. I don't care where you are. If I'm buying a kid's meal, I'm getting less food for less money.
Proportions.
Why is that a problem? I have no problem with it. Yeah, there are videos of people elbowing each other at Costco.
Yeah.
I'll still never understand the throwing hands in public over Pokemon cards.
And you know how Costco does it, right? Like the cards aren't just sitting there. They have them locked away.
Yeah, in a cage room door thing. Yeah. Next Advocates Donation Friday, Monty should give away a Pokemon card to the biggest donor.
Yeah.
I really should.
Yeah.
The barbecue sauce at McDonald's tastes like KC barbecue. It's really good. Okay. Listen, that's fine.
What happened to Buc-ee's, dude?
Lopes fan gave Paul Skeen's debut patch card. Glad a kid pulled it and not some scumbag mouth breathing. I love the scumbag. They're called breakers because they'll sit on TikTok and they'll buy an entire case of baseball cards.
This case.
And they'll sit on TikTok and just open pack after pack. Oh, let me get this. Oh, I'm looking for it. Where is it? Oh, I gotta have it.
This
let me pull it. Let me pull it.
Empty.
Let me
the opposite of full.
let me get a little bump of cocaine. Okay, more packs. Like, it's ridiculous.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
I am so thrilled the kid pulled the card.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Gabe. I totally am. Kale, you couldn't waterboard that info out of me. Well, okay. Okay. NE. Yeah, but it's not just Costco. There's another grocery chain that had a special also for Halloween packs you can buy to give out. Okay. Tom Dean. James, you like the barbecue sauce at McDonald's? What are you, from Oklahoma or something? Easy. So final verdict. Should adults be, if it makes you happy to go collect Pokemon cards, listen, that's fine.
Yeah.
I think I saw Jake elbowing someone at Target to get some Pokemon cards, but it could have been his doppelganger.
Yeah.
Again, somebody will never be able to say, I saw Monty at Target. I saw Monty at Walmart. Yeah, you're never going to be able to say that. Costco? Sure. Walmart? Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It just isn't what I do. The Monty Show is always presented by the Advocates at theadvocates.com. Hey, San Diego, Las Vegas, Phoenix, everywhere you are, they've got offices opening around the country. Hook it up if you get in an accident. If you get punched in the face while you're trying to get a Pokemon card, go to theadvocates.com. I'm telling you, the best injury attorneys in the business, let them handle the claims process for you. They know how to fight insurance companies. You get in an accident, you need clear, risk-free advice. That's what the Advocates have for you. Chat with an injury attorney live online. It won't cost you a dime at theadvocates.com. Until tomorrow, I'll have an update on Tokyo tomorrow. Follow me on Insta, Snapface, and stuff.
Yeah.
Will Jake go to Tokyo? I have Pokemon cards in Target stores there. Until tomorrow, say can't wait for Tokyo, Jake.
Can't wait for Tokyo, Jake.